Hello, welcome back. Transformations or translations. The curve C has equation with some function of x is equal to 9 minus 3 brackets x plus 2 all squared. The point A is the maximum point on C. Write down the coordinates of A. Well, we look at the brackets here, or the bracket, and we have x plus 2, and we equate it equal to 0, which means that x is equal to minus 2. And of course it's written in the form of completing the square, which means that 9 is the y value. So the coordinates of A is minus 2 and 9 for 1 mark. For the next mark, the curve C is transformed to the curve S by a translation of 4 and 0. Now this indicates 4 units to the right. Now always teach A times some function of bx, where A is the amplitude, B is the wavelength, and then we have plus and minus some value, let's call it P, and then plus and minus Q, where P is a movement right or left, depending on the sign, and Q is literally the movement vertically up or down. So find an equation for the curve S. Well, if it's moved 4 units to the right, that means the function must be x minus 4. We're going to substitute that back into the original function of x, which is equal to, and let's have a look at the equation, that is equal to 9 minus 3 brackets x, and now minus 4 plus 2 all squared. So therefore the equation of S must be 9 minus 3 brackets and minus 4 plus 2 is x minus 2 all squared. That's your additional mark. Now describe fully the transformation that maps curve C onto curve T. Well, now we have to write down the equation of C, which is 9 minus 3 brackets x plus 2 all squared. And the equation of T we're given is 3 brackets x plus 2 all squared and minus 9. Now let us rewrite T in the form of what's written above. If I write that, so that's y equals, and this will be y equals a minus 9 plus 3 x plus 2 all squared. Now what we notice is that C is the function of x, and because we've changed around the signs here, made the 9 minus and the 3 positive, this is the negative function of x, which means that it's a reflection in the or on the x-axis, and that's it for your additional mark. And we have a trig transformation here, or translation. The graph of y is equal to a cos x minus b degrees plus c for the range of values of x lying between negative 180 and 360. Now what I've done is I've sketched in already the original cosx graph. Now in order to find a, which is the amplitude, I need to look at the distance from the maximum point, which is here, to the minimum point, which is here. And of course let's just ditto this line down, and that will give me a value of, well, I've got 5 up from 0 and then minus 1 down, so that gives me 6. And what about the maximum value for the original cos graph? Well, here is the maximum and here is the minimum, which gives me a value of, well, that gives me a value of 2. So how do I get from 2 to 6? What multiplier? Well, surely that gives me the value of A being equal to 3. So A must be equal to 3 because I know 3 times 2 gives me 6. Now B is the movement horizontally, is the translation horizontally. And I can see that from 0 to here is that's where the asymptote, it levels out at 1. So it's moved this way, this way, and it's moved negative 90 degrees. So that's negative 90 degrees to the left. So that's minus 90 degrees to the left. And of course, that will give you, if you know your equation for translation, which I've written above, yeah, AF brackets BX plus or minus P plus or minus Q, you would know that that will be a shift to the left of minus 90 degrees. And a minus times a minus gives you plus. So it has to be plus 90 so that it's a movement to the left. Hence, this is where it is now. So minus 90. What about the value of C? Well, the value of C can be found, well, hold on. The difference between minus 1, let's change color pens here, minus 1 here and 2 here is 3. So that's a value of 3. That gives you a value of 3. And of course, we already know that 6. And of course, how do you get from 3 to 6? Well, you have to multiply that by 2. So the value of C must be 2. Because here's the intersection here of between minus 1 and 2, we have 3. And then, of course, between minus 1 and 5, we have 6. It can be also dealt with 5 plus minus 1, which is gives you 4, and then find the midline. That will give you 2, and yeah, that will give you C is equal to 2. And that's 6 marks.